Welcome to the Calm Sphere podcast. This is where it starts. This is my testimony. This is a letter to the woman who is tired of surviving, and I am so glad you're here. I mean that, and not in the way that people say it as a filler before they get to the real stuff. I mean it in the way that I know it took something for you to press play today. Maybe you're in your car, or maybe you're folding clothes or laundry, or listening to this while the kids are finally asleep, or maybe you're just sitting somewhere quiet trying to catch your breath for the first time all day. Whatever brought you here today, I want you to know that this space was built for you. My name is Ashley, and this is The Calm Sphere, a podcast about grief, healing, faith, and what it actually looks like to put yourself back together when life has taken more than you thought you could lose. Now, I want to make this very clear from the first episode. This is not a perfect faith podcast. This is not a clinical mental health podcast either. This is just something in between and something beyond both of those things. This is a space where we talk about our nervous system and our relationship with God, where we talk about grief without rushing past it, and where we talk about the shame and the substances and the survival mode, the slow crawl back to yourself, and the God who was there through every single bit of it. And know this, I am not speaking to you from a stage or a pedestal. I'm not speaking at you. I am speaking with you. I'm speaking to you from the ground, because that's where I found healing, on the ground, and that's where I want to meet you too. I want to start by telling you my story, and not like the polished aesthetic version. Like, this is going to get nitty gritty and really real, because I think you deserve to know who is in your ear before you decide to trust me with your healing journey. It starts with my sister. She was 29 years old when she died. I was 27, and I want to say her death out loud and tell you what happened, because there is too much silence around the way she left this world, and that silence has never helped anyone heal. My sister died of an accidental fentanyl overdose. She wasn't someone who used prescription medications though, or like downers. That just wasn't her. But there was a man in her life that she met at rehab when she was trying to get better. So in this rehab, obviously they go into groups, and they have just support groups, therapy sessions where they talk about their traumas. So he knew her weaknesses, he knew her traumas, and he used all of that against her to seduce her and just get in her head. When they got out of the rehab, he gave her that drug knowing exactly what it would do, and she trusted him, and she was the one who didn't make it. She was in that rehab trying to recover from abusing alcohol and her eating disorder, and I need you to hear this, because her death was not a moral failure. It was betrayal, and the shame that gets placed on families who lose someone to overdose, and like all the whispers and the secrets and the judgments, and the way like people sometimes don't know what to say, so they say nothing. That shame is one of the cruelest parts of this kind of grief, and I refuse to carry it quietly anymore. But losing her broke something open in me that I didn't know how to close. For about 2 years after she died, I was in pieces. I was in shambles, and I want to be honest about what that looked like, because I think a lot of us have this idea that grief looks like crying on a couch with tissues everywhere. And yes, sometimes it does, but sometimes grief looks like making bad decision after bad decision. Sometimes it looks like drinking too much and smoking to feel nothing, and it looks like shame so heavy you can barely get out of bed. And sometimes it even looks like survivor's guilt whispering to you that you should have been the one to die instead. I was stuck in a cycle that I could not break. I would fall apart, try to pull it together, fall apart again, want to heal, and then just make the same choices over and over again and feel so much shame and just repeat. It was just nonstop, this nonstop cycle of that. And here's the part that really gets me when I look back. In the middle of all of that, I became a twin mother, 2 babies at once, and I loved them with everything I had, but loving them did not automatically fix what was broken inside of me. I was still falling apart, and I was also just trying to survive for them at the same time. Grief doesn't pause for new life. It just sits right next to it and waits for you to be ready to finally just feel it all. I felt worthless. I felt hopeless. I felt like I was a terrible mom, like my kids did not deserve to have a mother like me. And there were seasons where I didn't even want to be alive. I was numbing because feeling the full weight of losing my sister felt like something that I just couldn't survive. And if you've ever been in that place that I just described, I need you to know that this is actually not weakness. This is what happens when a human being absorbs way more pain than anyone taught them how to carry. Plot twist, my breaking point was also my beginning, and I can't point to one single dramatic moment. It wasn't like a lightning bolt or like a light bulb that just went off. It was more like a slow burn. I started reading my Bible, and not because someone told me to, not because I was trying to be a good Christian, but because something in those pages gave me a feeling I had been chasing for years. That feeling was joy. Real joy, not the kind that lasts 3 hours and then leaves you feeling emptier than before. Like, this was permanent joy, the kind that was still there when I woke up the next morning and I started talking to other people who believed, and that same feeling showed up again and again. So I started to slowly understand that the happiness I was searching for and just looking for this whole time, the peace that I had been numbing myself trying to find, it was right here. It had always been here, and I was just kind of looking in the wrong places for it. So I made a decision, and not a one-time decision. This was a daily decision. I had to wake up every day and choose this to get close to God, to try to get sober, and to make hard choices that wouldn't pay off immediately, but would pay off in ways that actually mattered. It became very clear to me that the only way I was going to survive losing my sister was to choose God and to choose to honor her by actually living my life and thriving, not just surviving. I want to tell you where I am today, and not because I am fully healed, which I don't think that ever happens in this life, but because I want to show you what is possible. I am a twin mom to a boy and a girl who make me want to be better every single day. I am in a healthy relationship, and I am a 2026 bride. I am a college graduate with a bachelor's degree in human services. I am an entrepreneur. I am a woman in recovery, not just from substances, but from the version of myself who believed she was too broken to be loved or used by God. I am not perfect. I still have very hard days. I still grieve my sister, and I will for the rest of my life. I still have those moments where my nervous system is running the show and my peace feels very far away. And healing is, I just want to make this very known. Healing is not a destination. It's a practice. So I have not reached the point where I can say I am fully healed, and I don't think I ever will. And I have come to terms with that. But I am here. I am soft in ways I didn't know I was allowed to be. I am safe in ways I had to build from scratch to be here. And I am in a relationship with God, who met me at my absolute lowest and never once made me feel like I was too much or too far gone. And that's why this podcast exists, because not because I have all the answers, but because I have been where you might be right now, in that cycle of shame, of self-destruction, of living in survival mode. And I found a way through, and I want to walk with you while you find your journey and while you are on your journey to healing and just finding that peace. This podcast is called The Calm Sphere, and I named it that very intentionally because calm is not the absence of pain. Calm is what becomes possible when you finally feel safe enough to stop running from that pain. That's what I want for you. Safety, softness, a way back to God and back to yourself that doesn't require you to be someone you're not, or pretend that the hard parts didn't happen. So every episode we are going to go there. We're going to talk about grief and the nervous system and faith and the body and all the messy, beautiful human stuff in between. We're not going to skip the hard parts. We're going to go directly through it, and we're not going to spiritually bypass our way to a perfect, tidy ending. We're going to be honest, raw, and we're going to be doing this together. If you are the woman who loves God but feels too broken for the clean version of faith, you are in the right place. If you have lost someone and the grief is still living in your body, even when your mind is trying to move forward, you are in the right place. If you have a past that the world has told you disqualifies you from healing or from being a voice, you are so in the right place. Welcome to the Calm Sphere. I am so glad you found it. And if no one has told you lately, God has not forgotten about you. He met me in my mess. He met me on my knees, and he will meet you in yours too. I'll see you in the next episode.